Hello, and welcome to the Pioneer Valley Fencing Academy, now currently shut down because of COVID. This is a video on coordination of hand and foot in the attack, talking specifically about two historical systems, one of which of course comes down to us traditionally, and modern fencing, and how these have developed in Sabre. And it was brought on by some controversy on the George Silver group, that the manner in which one coordinates oneself. Now, I'm going to start to illustrate this with George Silver. Now, the fundamental thing you need to understand is that George Silver's frame of understanding timing, but not I'm talking about clock time, but about the relative duration of actions is fundamentally Aristotelian. And I'm going to ask you to take what I say about this as a matter of authority, because I just wrote a peer-reviewed textbook coming out later this year from Johns Hopkins University Press on ideas of time and timing in Western thought. And this was brought on actually by something Bob Charette said 30 years ago, when he said, well, to Aristotle, timing, tempo, in fencing is the relative duration of actions, or as it was put in the medieval Latin, numerus, motus, never mind, I just did a workout class, I can't remember the Latin. It's the number of the motion with respect to the before and after, in translation from the Latin. The numerus motus, the number of the motion, which is a form of enumeration, but we mustn't think of it as clock time, right? Because stopwatches weren't invented until the 18th century. Rather, it's the relative timing of durations. The way this comes about with George Silver is George Silver says we have the time of the hand, we've got the time of the foot, and we've got the time of the body, of course. We can move our body, right? But that, relatively speaking, I can move my hand faster than I can move my body, faster than I can move my body and foot. So it's the relative space of these actions. So the big controversy is, or as far as I understand it, is that George Silver very clearly says in the brief instructions, because the time of the hand is faster, then you need to enter in to time of the hand on your wards and then cut them. Brilliant, great, he says this. He says do this only with closed fight. Closed fight is essentially what we would call more of a closed line, a garden fight, and then hit them and get out, of course, with proper timing, which implies perhaps some sort of preparatory action on the blade, but Silver is not very, very explicit about that. Now, Silver, though, also has his open fight, where he's got a refuse stance. Well, what do we do then? Certainly not step in and then cut. That's two actions. Rather, start the blade and then follow the foot. So it's one smooth, continuous action. This is also, if I do it towards the camera, you can see that telegraphs, whereas that's a continuous, smoother action. It tends to be more deceptive to the eye. Not to mention that if I move my foible ahead of my body, it's going to tend to displace the adversary's steel and keep me safe. So this is a fundamental fencing idea. So Silver, right? Enter in your wards and then cut them and get out. So not too bad an idea. I personally don't like it tactically because while I'm entering, well, I can be deceived, something can happen. Silver says to do this, right? So it works perfectly until it doesn't work. But whether or not my own opinion on that doesn't matter, it's what Silver says. The reason why I don't like it is, of course, I was trained in a different system. Let's see. So the other thing I want to mention is that Stephen Hand does this and other people, I should mention also Paul Wagner, they tend to do a slow hand thing, leading with the hand, stepping, and then finishing like that. I don't particularly like that personally because I feel when I'm coming forwards like this with the slow hand, you notice that my foible, if you can see in the lights, is lagging behind. I feel like my extended target is exposed, and I don't like that. I much prefer to lead with my blade and then with my foot, with my foible. But that is largely stylistic. So That's what I mean. So what it is, right, is I'm going to start the hand first and then the foot, because you need to coordinate this properly. Now, if you're doing a circular cut from here, you don't start your foot forward till the blade is 3/4 forward. This is explicitly, I'll take my Rodelian saber here. So this is a Rodelian saber, right? This is my preferred cut and thrust school. It's actually a Picker guard. It's a fairly thick blade, way thicker than a modern blade, but you gotta think of it like as a 3-foot long razor blade. It's not a cleaving weapon like Silver's broadsword. So how that is, that's a Hanwei that Paul McDonald shaved down from in like the late 90s. But here, well, one thing is that we're using a lunge, right? I'm in sort of a French school stance here, but what Rodeli says specifically, he wants you to use your Milanese because he wants to make a cleaving blow. He disagreed with people who did it from the wrist. He said this wasn't strong enough. He was himself a veteran of the Italian Wars of Unification. He was concerned with cutting down a man with, for realsies. So it comes elbow, and then when it's about 3/4, then I launch my foot into my lunge. And in an ideal world, there's an impact, right? I would not want to be hit with a sharp one of these like that, right? I'm not going to cleave the guy's head in two, but I'm going to put him down. Same way, chamber here. This is more French school. Rodeli might chamber up here. They do kind of these almost 16th century things, still preserved in the cane system, but I'm going to do the French military system there. I'm moving my point in a big circle, if you can see it, and then coming forwards. So I get a lot of velocity there, but I'm coordinating it in such a way that actually my blade is hitting for my foot. This is kind of a smart thing to do. I can do this, of course, from at a distance. I can do any number of foot actions. I'm intended to coordinate one to the other. I can slow my foot down. I can do 2 hand actions to 1 foot action with a float here, but it's coming from the rear foot. So it all needs to be coordinated. This eventually comes in modern saber. So this is kind of a modern saber. It's actually more of a classical guard, but it's got an S2000 blade. It's that all you need to do to take priority, to present the threat, is just a slight forward motion. Or if I just tap the other guy's blade, then, well, I got priority. So bump, and then I'm just marching forward, and I keep it back. It's not in any way what you would do when you're actually fencing, because, taking priority, and I'm just marching, and then I finish. And even if I'm hit, doesn't matter. I've got right of way, right? Who gives a damn? Not very martial, but this whole idea of that you're at least have to kind of have the distance between your point and your shoulder increase comes from that idea of getting the hand forwards first. So this kind of gets transmitted down to us. But that same mechanic, we take it and we abstract it, and we pick up a broadsword, then you can see that's kind of good advice. I want this weapon going ahead of me. Silver says, come in here, right? So he says, okay, I've come in my garden, whatever. So here, garden stance, hanging guard, whatever. I've gained my place. There. Maybe he's coming into me. I'm still moving backwards. I'm going to cut first and then move my foot back. If I move my foot back first, I miss. Cut. There. It's the same idea. If I'm coming in maybe he's coming in and I'm going to countercut, come in to simulate that. Same thing, moving backwards. I really need to start my hand first. And following me, you really want to start your point first too. Anyway, that is my video for today. Hopefully I explained this correctly. It's all applied Aristotelianism.